All right, so good afternoon. Today we have with us Ms. Salonia House. I'm going to allow her to introduce herself and tell us more about herself. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. Again, I'm Salonia House. I don't know what I'm supposed to be telling you about myself. I guess everything.
Okay, tell us a little bit about some of the things that you do in terms of your businesses. I know you're an entrepreneur, so I thought maybe we'll talk a little bit about that.
Okay. Yeah. Well, where do I start? I have my own meal prep service. So it's the meal prep and delivery service. It's called Armed and Prepped. That was birthed from my fitness business, which was a fitness instructor and fitness studio owner. And all of those together just kind of one led into the other. Just starting out with Fitness with Salonia is my fitness business. And I opened a studio called Studio 229. But once I started in with fitness, it became apparent that, eating, what we were eating was so important with our fitness and our health that I had to find a way to incorporate that. So I got into low carb, which turned into me getting into the keto side of nutrition. And that's what my meal prep delivery service specialized in keto meal prep. A lot of people were finding that it was just a lot to have to cook. They liked the idea of keto, they liked the fresh food, but they didn't have the time to cook with working and everything. So here I came with, my time and got in, doing what I love and cooking. So everything just kind of fit in, to one little ball there.
Okay, that's great. So in terms of, so your first business you started off with was your fitness business.
Right.
What you do, and you are located where again?
In Henderson, North Carolina.
Henderson, North Carolina. Okay. So you have a fitness studio where you do Zumba. Is it Zumba classes? Do you offer anything on?
Longer. Now we're online. Now we're
You're online. Okay. So definitely. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So it's a lot better. A lot better to me. So I don't have that one spot that I'm in. I can, reach everyone like everywhere. So it's a lot better.
I was going to say that, definitely I just want to make sure I get your website so that I can put that information so that if anyone wants to join any of your classes, and it's virtual, they can join your classes. Now the meal prep might be harder.
The website is www.fitnesswithsalonia.com. So it just is what it is.
Got it. Okay. And so what led you to getting into all the things you've gotten into? Was there anything that was like a spark for you or caused you to get into what you got into with the fitness and with the meal prep?
Actually, yes, there was that moment. My mom, who was overweight as far as I can remember, she had high blood pressure first, and then she got to the point where it affected, of course, her glucose levels. So and then she had diabetes. So she was taking the pills and the tablets, and then with that being unmanaged, that turned into insulin. With the both of them being unmanaged, it turned into renal failure. So she was on dialysis for maybe a year and 2 months, and she passed away. So in 2004, she passed away at the young age of 55.
Wow.
But every step of the way, the doctors did let her know if she changed what she was eating and she started moving more, diabetes, it could have been reversed. It was type 2 diabetes. It used to be called adult onset diabetes, but now children are getting it, so they can't call it that anymore, so they call it type 2. But every step of the way, they let her know that how important her diet was. But my mother would not change what she was eating. So she just continued to go on and, like most of our parents, grandparents, they're going to eat what they want. So kind of what she ate and obesity together is kind of, what killed her. So afterwards, I kind of went spiraling out of control, and I had to realize that I was using food for the same reason, and which was she was using it, to, fill a void, whatever we use any addiction for. So I had a job at the time as a case manager, and it just so happens I was a case manager for people with diabetes.
Wow.
And it just so happens a lot of information was coming in, and it became apparent to me. I said, well, it seems like a lot of this is not really about going to the doctor and getting medicine. It has a lot to do with the food that people are eating. And our society doesn't, we don't exercise a lot. We'll make time for everything else and everybody else, but when it comes to taking care of ourselves, we don't have time for that. So I found myself divorced, with my 2 children on my own. My mom had passed, and it was just me and the children here. And I looked around and realized I was just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I'm like, you know what? This is not going to be a repeat. I'm going to stop this cycle right here. We're not going to have this again. So I joined a gym. And no matter what, I made it part of my day. Like, showering, breathing, every day I'm going to the gym. So I would take my children with me. They had a little daycare inside. So every day I would go to the gym. And when I got there, the first month, I think I could walk half a mile on the treadmill. That's how out of shape I was. And, our mind would tell us, girl, I can still do that. I can walk about 4 or 5 miles. Walking ain't nothing. Boy, that treadmill.
Mm-hmm.
Myself. And I just made it part of my day. Like, no matter what, we had to go. Rain, snow, we had to go no matter what. And I had gone so much and started, coming down. And as I started coming down, one of the personal trainers there said, you're going to have to start changing what you eat now. And like, okay, one struggle at a time. Food is my life. So while I was working, I'm realizing that I'm getting up in the morning, I'm getting the children to school. I'm going to work, I'm getting them from school, I'm going to the gym, I'm taking them and putting them in the daycare and the gym, and then I'm seeing them for an hour or so, wash them up and, put them in the bed, and the same thing again. And I said, this is not right. So then my emotional side, my mental side started getting, and that's when I kind of realized, health is holistic.
Yes.
If one is wrong, the other is off. So me, I just wasn't feeling good not spending that, time with my children. I was already divorced. They already had one parent that wasn't there. So while I'm at this gym, one day one of the fitness manager, she says, we had this class and the instructor was moving. And she was moving about 3 hours away to Charlotte. She said, do you want to teach the class for her? I said, no. I don't even know what the class is. So I went to the class, and it was a class called Zumba. I said, what is a Zumba? And she's like, just go in there and, see what it's like and blah, 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 blah. So I go in there, and they're doing salsa and merengue, and they're murdering it, just chopping it up. It was just terrible. And being from the Bronx, I'm like, this is just wrong.
Yes.
So after the class, the girl was like, well, we have the CDs, the Zumba CDs. If you don't want to watch them and see what they do, then, you'll know at least what kind of makes some routines up. They just want to dance. They just want to move. So I watched the CDs, and that's what I did. I started like kind of, emulating the routines I saw. And I have dance history.
Right.
And then on my dad's side, I have Hispanic history because he's from Honduras. He's from British Honduras. So there was no way for this not to work. So just kind of everything in life kind of came in together. So I got to get my workout. I got to earn money. I got to spend time during the day with my children. Um, and I got to do what I love. And it just caught on. Zumba just blew up. And it got to the point where we just didn't have enough room for the students. We had gotten like 105 people in the gym. It was just too big.
Wow.
So
You see
I
how
went
your
my whole,
gifts make room for you.
I tried.
Your gifts
I'm
make
just
room for you.
wonderful. I mean, you just, you wonder why you go through things, and then it just kind of all comes together. And at the time, I thought I knew enough to pick a mate. Anyway, I was divorced and on my own for so long, and we need that companionship, and I thought I was ready and I could pick one, but I picked a very psychologically abusive man. But at the time, I didn't know. I didn't know what to look for. I didn't know people like that existed. And when I started my business, we started together. And the caretaker in me said, well, you can start your business with me. I'm going to open a studio and you can do whatever it is that you do, which I don't know to this day what he does, but he just he wanted his name on stuff. And he waited until the studio opened, and a month later, he said he didn't want to be with me anymore because the studio was more important than him.
Wow.
So he didn't pay the rent. I gave them money for the rent to pay. He didn't pay the rent. He didn't pay the light bill. So I was stuck with the studio just based on Zumba by myself, and I just kept it moving. God gave me the strength to just keep it moving, and it wasn't really about I got this, I know what I'm doing. It really was I had to eat, and it was what I loved, and I felt like it was supposed to be to honor my mother. It was supposed to be. And it just kept going. People from all over. It's taken me all over. I've been up and down the East Coast. People paying for me and my children to travel. It's just been wonderful. But it was a lot of work. But it was when it's what you love, it just doesn't seem like work. It didn't feel like I had my own business. It just felt like I was living. I was just doing what I love. I was just amazed, like somebody would pay me to do to do what I love. But that's why it's so important to find out who you are and your gift, but most importantly, to have a why. When you have your why is that center. And whenever things get rough, you can always come back to your why and draw that strength and keep going. Which is how it went from just the fitness classes to people coming in saying, I'm not losing the weight, or the doctor's saying this and the doctor's saying that. So I had to find a way to help them with the other side of it, with changing what I was eating, to help them change what they were eating. So everything that I have done as far as the business goes, it wasn't something I just read and said I'm going to do it and tell them to do it. It was something I had to experience myself. My why was something I had to experience myself. My weight gain, my food addiction, my sugar and carbohydrate addiction. It was experience. I had to go through it. My taking time away from my children, my quitting a 9-to-5 and putting everything into a business so I could be there for my children as well. That was all from experience. So that helped me, to help someone else with it. So when they came in with the food thing, and they were going on with I can't let go of my bread, and I can't let go of it.
That would be me.
I was sitting there a couple of nights going, I gotta have one more thing. I mean, it boiled down to helping me understand what my mother went through all those years. It was more than not knowing what to eat. It was more than just stop. It was it was her crutch. It was her addiction. Like people are addicted to drugs, to alcohol. Uh, we sit around daily talking about those people. Oh, they just, they're on drugs. They can't stop crack, or they can't stop this, or they can't. But it's more than that. And when I got to that side of it, people really began to listen, because if they get that you understand them, they're more prone to really push forward with that change, rather than feeling like, you're chastising them and you're just, shaking your hand at them and telling them what they're doing wrong. So I started my online challenges. They were first low carb challenges, and then they were keto challenges. So in the challenge, you just have to, follow the meal plan. I give you a shopping list, I give you recipes, and I give you a meal plan. So all you have to do is go out, shop, and cook. And they would get in there like, hey, I want chocolate. Okay, I know you want chocolate, but chocolate doesn't want you. So you're the human here. Say no.
Say no to chocolate.
Right. I want a cheeseburger. Yes, but the cheeseburger doesn't love you. Now stop. So they would be more, it was a comfortable setting. It was a judgment-free zone, and it just kind of took off. So I had people from Hawaii, everywhere joining the challenges online, and it just came up in one of the conversations that we had. It would be nice if I could cook too.
Wow.
Okay, so now I'm teaching classes already 5 days a week, and now they're like, can you cook too? So I put that off, and that was actually an idea 2 years ago. But once my children graduated high school, I had time on my hands. So, they were able to drive themselves back and forth and do what they needed to do. And it was time to get back to me again, because I really had always been someone's daughter, someone's wife, someone's mother. And then life is sitting here like, you still have a purpose now. You come on. So I started realizing that there are a lot of women that were going through the same thing, but still hadn't gotten to the point where they're going, okay, take care of me. So I feel like now, again, I don't feel like I'm an entrepreneur. I don't feel like I'm in a business. I just feel like I'm doing what God has put me here to do, where He put all those pieces in my life together to put out there, like you, for instance, you've gone through things, and while you were going through them, it's just like, God, why? Where is this going? What are you trying to tell me? Please just spell it out. But then you'll get to a point where it's like, this is what it was for. It makes who you are. So I don't walk around with I'm a boss woman, I'm an entrepreneur, I got my own. I've never ever been there. I've always been grateful and thankful. And I've always stayed at the point where I want to learn. What do I do next? God, what do I do next? Where do I go next? How do you want to use me next? And it just comes together when I trust Him, when I trust that I'm going the right way because I'm following Him. It just works out. So now with this pandemic, it's amazing because I haven't skipped a beat. I was already a homebody. I was already having classes online. I was already delivering food to people's homes, and it just kept on, going now. So I'm just really grateful. If I could tell any woman that wanted to get into starting her own business, again, I would tell her to start it based on her why.
I love that. I was about to say we only have a few more minutes, so actually a couple of more seconds to talk, and that was a great thing to say. Again, start with your why. Start with your why. Well, I thank you so much for your time. This has been awesome. I learned so much about you that I didn't know. And there's my chimes. So our time is up, but I will see you, and I will talk to you again soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it and I'm honored. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to stop the recording now.